All right, let's get started. So this is a video got me thinking earlier today.
Yeah.
I think that the Americans at the highest levels thought that that apparently they believed their own rhetoric that the Iranian regime was wobbly, that was the weakest it's ever been in all 47 years of its existence, and we just need.
Yes, what he's describing is an Asmongold viewer, is Asmongold's take. And I didn't, as soon as he said this, I thought bad that Vance has retweeted Asmongold. I'm certain that there are people in the administration that watch Asmongold. And Asmongold, when the protest happened, he was like, oh, look, the regime is terrible. It's on the verge of collapse. And yeah, we just need to bomb them. And then, yeah, the Asmongold would have 100% done what Trump did. They are on the same page there. He might have done it sooner because he doesn't know any, all of the background and the salient details that are going to be coming to light in next week or are already coming to light. Basically, I think that's why the administration charged into this. Asmongold was completely captured by the propaganda about Iran being on the verge of collapse and the propaganda about the might of the U.S. military. So he doesn't know any of the problems in terms of like shortage of interceptors. He doesn't know any of that. All he knows is U.S. military is invincible and Iran is evil and on the verge of collapse. So that's how we think we got into this. That the administration, not only at top levels, but like the aides below that, are Asmongold viewers. And so they just thought this would be an easy, they just didn't understand what would happen after they attacked Iran. That's the thing.
Need to go in there with
That's
a
how I think
shock
it
and awe
works.
kind of thing. And according to CENTCOM statements a couple of days ago, that this was double the big of the shock and awe initial phase that we went in on the Operation Desert Storm when we started there. And everybody sees a lot of those videos from history. So we say we went double that. And I think that the belief was that shock and awe from this wobbly government will cause it to fall. And of course,
That Asmongold would have believed that. That is an Asmongold. So I'm not knocking Asmongold per se. I could say Naxtaku's audience, Naxtaku, but Asmongold's bigger, so I'm going to stick with him. It's the belief in the invincibility of the U.S. military. They don't know the details, which I'll mention again for those who don't know in a second. And they bought the propaganda about Iran being on the verge of collapse. They don't understand that the protests were primarily caused by an economic attack by the United States. The U.S. Secretary of Treasury admitted that they shorted the Iranian rial and caused inflation, like high inflation in Iran, and that led to the protest. It was not mismanagement internally, it was an outside attack. If you know that, it changes your perspective on how likely Iran is to topple and how mismanaged it is.
when they assassinated the Ayatollah.
Oh, and then that did so much damage on top of it. The Maduro, the complete ease with which we got Maduro. I mean, if you hear Nux Taku, Hugh Streamer, he's like, oh, we got Maduro, now we're going to get the toil. He says we're knocking off dictator every month. Trump is incredible, and I think he really believes the nonsense. And Nexaka doesn't understand just how bad it's going to get very soon when the interceptors run out.
Beginning, I think they thought this is going to be easy, man. We're going to get them knocked off, and it's going to be easy like Venezuela. Mm-hmm. There's some reports come out that some people in the American administration actually thought that there was some coordinate, some analogies you can draw from that, like maybe it would be working the same way. That was,
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Yes, it's just, yeah, hit it, and then magically the Iranian people will, right? Yeah, magically it will all work out for us if we just bomb like 25 of their top leaders.
Crazy. Well, obviously that didn't happen. They didn't collapse because they lost the head. They actually replaced him like it was the plan. It was communicated ahead of time. What a surprise that they actually did that. What a surprise also that you get the rally around the flag symbol, and now people are really supporting their government more so than they did before because they're being attacked by Israel and the United States. So now then it seems like we're saying, oh snap, that didn't work. And we can't just keep that. Believe me, what the classified number is probably higher than what's being reported. And if there's that many missiles being expended already, and we keep dropping these missiles all over the place and it's not causing them to succumb, it doesn't take much math to realize you can't keep that up very long. So you got to do something else.
Yes, because that's what I mean. But it has to have been the Asmongold crowd. Is if you were anyone who was really thinking about it logically and considering possibilities, you know you only have enough missiles for like a week campaign at this rate, and you just don't have the offensive missiles for a prolonged war, and you don't have the defensive interceptors for a prolonged war. Why would you start it in this way? And you have nothing on the ground, nothing. The Kurds looks like it's not working out. The Kurds are like, no, we're not going to fight a country of 90 million. That doesn't seem like a good idea to me. That's what the Kurds are doing. So we have no troops on the ground. We have no way to stop Iran from lobbing the missiles and the drones. So it's just... And we have no off-ramp, because after you kill off the supreme leader of our country in a surprise attack during negotiations, there's no way to say, oops, let's have peace now. No. God, it's... The Asmongold, he was okay with it. And I think that's what the people in administrations were too, except now, after it's happened, you have people that I think slowly are coming around and explaining to people in the administrations just how fucked we are. No one's done that for Asmongold yet. It'll happen slowly when interceptors run out, for one.
And now it looks like they thought, ooh, I know. How about we get the Kurds to go in and do this, and we can get them on the ground? Well, that is insane. I mean, that it sounds like that the Kurdish leader is sane, because it would be insane to think that a ground force of just ragtag Kurds, basically infantrymen, are going to be able to invade a country 4 times bigger than Iraq, where we had 300,000 in the 2003 war, somewhere around that.
Yeah,
and we had 300,000 trained U.S. soldiers for the Iraq War, and Iran is what, 3 times the size of Iraq?
They have a few thousand. I don't know how many the number is, but it's not very much. And they don't have, tanks and armored personnel carriers, artillery. They don't have, their own air force and drones and all that stuff that a modern military would have to even have a chance. So I have no idea what they think. And does anybody think
the only way this attack was carried out was because it was carried out by people that just didn't understand the dynamics of what would happen afterwards? I mean, we say a lot of joking about Netanyahu taking this opportunity. In a way, I'm sure he saw in administrations that no one had a clue what was going to happen after Iran was attacked. And in that way, if you have people so clueless in Trump administration, it is a golden opportunity to push U.S. into this war. Because I'm sure Netanyahu, for all his many, many faults, had a much better idea what would happen after we attacked Iran than Trump did. That's why he's nowhere to be found right now. People are wondering, where's Netanyahu? He's apparently perpetually on a plane, like flying around the Mediterranean, because he knows he's target number 1.
If a Kurdish force comes rolling into Iran, that the Iranians are going to somehow get behind them, that's going to say, hey, we'll use them and overthrow the government, or that the army can't repulse something like that. I mean, if anybody does just the least amount of map reconnaissance and look at the terrain between the Kurdistan, Iraq, and Tehran, it's like the worst parts of Afghanistan.
The best way to think about it is, those old cartoons where Wile E. Coyote runs off the cliff, and he's sort of still running in the area, and then he slowly looks down. He slowly realizes what's about to happen. That's where we are right now. That's why oil prices aren't over 100, is because people they still can't believe that this horrible crash is coming. This disaster. They know exactly how disastrous it would be if the Straits of Hormuz stayed closed for like next 6 months. But no one's really willing to accept it yet. Until the little bit of the pain starts, then there'll be complete panic. On that note, let's just check in on oil prices. I'm just curious. I haven't. Oh, yep. They're up. They're up. Look at that. 5 day. They have jumped up. This is realization beginning to sink in. So the first 4 days, it was people running in. This is where Wile E. Coyote is starting to fall off the cliff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 91, and that's not the beginning. That's only the begin. Okay, Japan gets 90% of their oil from the Gulf. 90% comes through the Strait of Hormuz. You got to think, Japan now. One reason I think it popped up today is a lot of oil producers in the Gulf finally declared force majeure and said we can't deliver on their contracts. But anyway, you have China that's going out and just trying to get all the oil they can that's from other places. and that's what drives oil up to here. Let's have a look quickly at just gold. Gold isn't shooting up yet, but it's definitely... It will. Because first will be oil, because actual demand, like Japan going out there trying to buy and stuff like that. But you see that pressure upwards. And once it breaks through this resistance right up here, oh my God, we're going up to 7,000 in gold. So I'd say yes, at this point in time, this point right now is a time to buy gold. I recommend it. Hold it till for a few months, see how this Iran thing plays out.
Anybody remembers that? Certainly how it was deployed there.
I think I should refuel my car before prices affect me. Actually, to be completely honest, yes, do that. Maybe even if you have an extra gas canister, that fill that up too. They will go up. Prices will go up a lot. We're talking 50% so far. Because if you go 1 month, 60 to 90, 50% so far. So that's what's coming to the pump, and more, because it's not going to stop at 90.
I mean, you can't attack over mountains or go through the mountain passes or these roads that are canalized where it's easy to defend. And I mean, you would get slaughtered. So if they're not going in there, that's like going to suicide, because you can't succeed that way. And there's so few.
And I will also mention one other things about the Kurds. Kurds, zero hedge, abandoned. U.S. basically abandoned the Kurds in Syria and basically let ISIS in Syria overrun them. Another issue is the Kurds. For the U.S. for a decade trained and armed the Kurdish-denominated Syrian Democratic Forces, but now is cutting them loose. Kurdish leaders have been warned of attacks by hardline Sunni militants under new Damascus government, and that happened. I think they got slaughtered or something by ISIS in Syria. And so that is the last time the Kurds decided to work with the United States, how it worked out. Petrol is relatively cheap here right now, 2.5 per liter. I will say, I just realized you are in Dubai, and you're basically someplace trapped with an infinite amount of oil. Food would be more what I would stock up in Dubai, because... okay. I think it'll take much longer for the fuel prices to go up there, because production is shut down, but it's still huge tanks of all types that can't get out of the Gulf. So, but it will go up because the oil fields are shutting down across the Gulf, and so eventually there won't be enough to refine, and it will go up there too. But I would stock up on food actually now if I'm thinking about it in Dubai before, especially fresh food. Because that's the first thing that'll disappear. And I don't think that you're going to have food shortages, but I think the prices are going to go up.
Few of them, it's not a serious argument here. So anyone who's thinking that doesn't know anything about the region or about military affairs or what happened.
That's exactly. Anything about the region or military affairs. That's the problem. And Vance retweets Asmongold. Elon Musk watches Asmongold. guarantee you there are people like a big part of the Trump administration watches Asmongold, and he doesn't know any of this. He doesn't know. He didn't realize what would happen if you bomb Iran. He didn't. The Strait of Hormuz closing, Iran's how many missiles they had, how few interceptors we had, how that it was unlikely for the Iranian people to rise up. He didn't know all that, and the people in the administrations that watch him didn't know all that, and that's how we got into this war.
Happened in the, say, for example, the Iran-Iraq war. Let's go back to that one. It's just not going to work, and that was with an actual army.
Hi, Proton Snail. Soma was wondering where you were. He was worried he would be all on his own. And as I was telling him how we got into this, is I think Asmongold played a role. I think that there are a huge number of people in the administrations, in the Republican circle that surrounds Trump, like Vance, that retweet him, that follow him, and their views are shaped in his community. Like the Asmongold's views are shaped by his community to an extent, and his community, it's basically a forum, basically, the Asmongold forum on his stream. And that forum does not know anything about the region of, anything about Iran, anything about the state of the U.S. military. And it completely bought into the protest and the idea that Iran was on the verge of an uprising. And so that's why we went into this war. I mean, they just thought it would be like Venezuela. You go in and poof, it's easy. That could very well be true. I think I remember plenty of key figures responding to him. I mean, hell, Elon retweets him, I think. Yes, and Vance has tweeted him or answered him. He definitely has connection to the administration. They definitely watch him. And, you look how he covered Iran. He watched a video about this from a supposedly Iranian telling about how bad the prices and how much the prices had gone up and how bad it was there. So I think he thought Iran was on the verge of collapse and that everyone would thank Trump for bombing the supreme leader and it would all work out nicely. But he doesn't know that it was the U.S. Secretary of the Treasury bragged about crashing the currency and causing the protest. It wasn't an organic thing. Language barrier doesn't help, agreed. Deport the orcs. Well, on topic of immigration and Minnesota fraud, there, Asmongold isn't taken in by media propaganda. He's seen past it, but I'm sure he still thinks of that's just like a single area of the media that's bad. He doesn't understand that it's endemic to the whole media system. That, yeah, the 30,000 dead in Iran is more like 3,000, and a third of that were policemen. That's probably closer to the truth than what he believes. I mean, think about what we did in Iran. You crash the currency, then you have Israel sneak in thousands of weapons and give them to protesters. Isn't that a nasty thing to do to a country?
I mean, everything you said is extremely accurate, and what makes it even more worse with the Kurds is, if anybody knows the Kurds, even the Iraqi Kurds are split into two groups, the KDP and the PUK, and the Americans kind of made a forced alliance between them about a month ago, but it's only like a month-old alliance, and so it's two separate armies joining together.
Okay, so I just want to show this video because this is the one that made me think. I have a bunch of other things. Let's see. Bunch of tweets that. Damn.
Satellite imagery showing the extent of the damage to U.S. military facilities across Gulf Arab countries is starting to emerge, part of Iran's furious response to an Israeli-American campaign that decimated its leadership. At least 9 U.S. military positions have been hit in less than 48 hours. These are relatively close targets. They're much nearer to Iran. At least 9 U.S. military positions have been hit in less than 48 hours. These are relatively close targets. They're much nearer to Iran than its usual target, Israel. That proximity may...
Oh, you hear about the Treasury bill that will be introduced? I don't know. I only heard a rumor, but I don't know details. I have not... I don't know which Treasury bill this is, but I'm going to look into it. Do you know what bill this is supposed to be? What this bill is?
give Iran's missiles and drones a better chance of hitting their targets. This is the port of Shuaiba, where just after 9 a.m. on Sunday morning, an Iranian strike set a makeshift U.S. operations center at the civilian port ablaze.
Okay. U.S. Treasury bill. Oil and dollar. I think this type of thing might be hard to look up without without the source. Source for a rumor, yep. There's too much going. There's too many stories on the dollar, oil, and Iran and Treasury to be able to find something reliably right now without. Oh, I thought I just mentioned this because yes, this is how propaganda works. Iran's regime is still intact. Israeli government approves Gaza ceasefire. It's Iran is a regime. Israel has a government. It's just one little detail of how propaganda works. Oh, and then the update on the school. Breaking, a New York Times investigation reveals it was the U.S. that struck Minab Girls Elementary School, killing 175 students. Oh my God, it keeps going up, the amount of dead students. Well, they might still be finding the bodies, but apparently it's Israel. It wasn't Israel, it was the United States. Well, in any case, it was either Israel or the U.S. It's bad, whoever it was. I mean, I can't think of anything worse for optics than do bomb a girls' school and kill 150 12-year-olds. Prominent UAE billionaire Khalaf Ahmad Al Habdoor just published an open letter to Trump. It's brutal. Who gave you the authority to drag our region into a war with Iran? Who gave you permission to turn our region into a battlefield? Well, you see, they thought this would all be over in one weekend. Don't you remember? They thought that before Monday, they'd have a new U.S. compliant regime in Iran. They didn't. That's why I say the Asmongold War. This war could only be started by someone who's completely clueless about the region, who didn't understand about the Straits of Hormuz, who didn't understand that there's 90 million people in Iran and they weren't going to just collapse because you drop a few bombs. Okay. I'll look at your link in 1 second, Proton. Let's finish reading this. Al Abdoor's a major figure, a billionaire, former diplomat, outspoken political voice in the Gulf. When he talks, UAE leadership listens. His questions: was this your decision or Netanyahu's pressure? Did you calculate collateral damage before firing? You placed GCC countries at the heart of danger. They didn't choose. Your Board of Peace initiative were funded by Gulf states. Now we're getting attacked. Where did that money go? That must sting a lot. You promised no wars. You've conducted operations in 7 countries: Somalia, Iraq, Yemen, Nigeria, Syria, Iran, Venezuela. 658 airstrikes in your first year back. Biden's entire term, which you criticized, equals Biden's entire term. War cost 40 to 65 billion for operations, possibly 210 billion total. Your approval rating is down 9% in 400 days. Americans were promised peace. They're getting a war funded by their taxes. The sharpest line. Before the ink has dried on your Board of Peace initiative, we find ourselves facing military escalation that endangers the entire region. So where did those initiatives go? Yep, it's the very same thing. I agree. They just didn't have a clue. It's the Asmongold crowd. They didn't. Asmongold didn't know about the Strait of Hormuz. When he was thinking, yeah, we should bomb them, he didn't know that decision could wipe out 20% of the world's oil, wreck the global economy. And his administration is filled with people who watch the stream, and they're just now, after they dropped the bomb, is when they started finding out just what the fuck they'd done. And so, yes, I think Netanyahu took advantage of the situation and led Trump into war, but I think it's just ignorance is how we got into this war. On Trump, on the part of everyone around him, on the Asmongold viewers that just didn't know what the fuck they were doing. That last line is what really speaks to me in that tweet. Yes, it's... Well, Trump thought he was bringing peace to the region by bombing the Ayatollah. You look at what was happening that weekend, back when the war started. They expected in the plan that was leaked that the regime would have collapsed by Sunday, and that by Monday, when the markets opened, there'd be a new U.S.-friendly government that they could celebrate. Yes, it was ridiculous. The letter ends. Okay. The letter ends. True leadership is not measured by war decisions, but by wisdom, respect for others, and pushing towards peace, achieving peace. I agree. This has been Qatar all week. Here.
Oh my god, I see it.
Oh my gosh, Jeff. Oh, it's so close.
Oh my.
Again, this is like a hurricane or like a big snowstorm. It's fun to watch for a few days, but it's exciting. It's like, oh, there's stuff going on. But it's going to lose its excitement factor very soon. It's going to be like, please make this stop soon.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's a Patriot.
Oh my god.
Oh, wow.
Each one of these, 8 in 1 month. That's how much the U.S. makes of these. 8 in 1 month.
1, 2,
Or 7, depending on who you ask.
5.
Oh.
It hit one.
Holy sh. Oh my god. What?
Crazy, right?
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh. Look.
Holy sh. Oh my god.
Yeah. The U.S. military prestige has been hurt a little bit in the last week because some of the attacks are getting through. And yes, that's bad. But once the interceptors run out, oh my God, is U.S. military prestige going to take a hit? Because it's like, people won't be able to believe it. There'll just be no missiles going up. Like this video, no missiles going up, but just missiles from Iran going down and just one after the other. Nothing stopping them, slamming into the ground, into their targets and destroying everything with no defenses. When videos of that start coming up, people are going to go, what the fuck? And eventually, that number I said, 7 or 8 a month, that's how many interceptors we have. That number is going to... I want to see it. I want to see it so bad the day Asmongold. Here's about it. 8 interceptors a month? And he's been watching videos like we have, where he's shooting up 8 in just one salvo. There's 1 2-minute video, and they're using 8 or more. Once he understands we'll only produce 8 a month, he said that fact alone would change his entire attitude towards the war. He'd be like, we can't do this. He would immediately we need to produce 80 a month. 80 a month. That would barely that might barely be enough. Even I think 800 a month would probably be, if for sustain what we're going through now. No, we can't last through this these types of attacks.
Oh my god, they're right next to our tower.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, I see one, I see one, I see one falling. I actually just saw one fall. Oh my god.
Do you think that scenario is almost guaranteed? You mean of them running out? It is, because there's no off-ramp. There's absolutely no off-ramp. So, and Iran is going to keep firing. And you have to understand, Israel is one thing. Israel, there's a lot of distance there, but drones that can reach the Gulf states, like Dubai, and Iran has like 20,000 of those. It has a huge supply of those. And so you're guaranteed for at least the Gulf states, absolutely guaranteed to have them run out. Iran, the amount of types of missiles that can hit Iran are fewer. So they still have a lot, but I don't need it. 20,000 for the Gulf states, 3 to 10,000 maybe for the distance to Israel. I don't. It depends. That's military classified in Iran. I don't know that, but they can make like over 100 of the type that hits the Gulf states in a month. This is what they're happening in Ukraine and Russia. They're making lots of these drones every month, and they're firing them off. That's going to happen in Iran too. China is their ally. You have China that can ship over like 10,000 motors to make drones, and then they can easily be assembled in workshops. The drones aren't a problem. The Gulf states are within drone striking range, and they're using interceptors, and so they're going to run out. There's no way. Iran's going to keep on attacking till every U.S. structure in the Gulf, every part of the base is completely leveled. And by the time that they start getting there, they won't have any interceptors left. That's why everyone is going to move to China for military support. They can produce significantly more. Exactly. In terms of they can produce, like manufacture significantly more. And Russia. If Russia isn't fighting Ukraine, it can. Russia is manufacturing more ammunition than all of NATO combined right now. Like by several times. It's insane how much Russia's manufacturing. If it wasn't for China, Russia is by far has the biggest military industrial base in terms of producing things. So yes, you want air defenses. Who are you going to rely on? America that produces 8 of these missiles each month? And they can't increase it because of rare earths, because they can't get more because China controls rare earth. Or are you going to get it from China that they could make 10,000 of these a month if they wanted to, probably.
Oh my god.
I just hope civilians aren't affected when that does happen. No, I don't think, unless Gulf states do something really stupid. I think that it'll be U.S. associated things. They've gone after like embassies, CIA building, U.S. bases, anything that's really directly and openly tied to the United States will be a target and hit. And it could end for the Gulf states once. No, it won't end because U.S. military is setting up makeshift temporary places. As long as that's going on, those will continue being hit. But if they are completely evacuated from a Gulf country, I think then, yes, the attacks will stop then. If Dubai, Bahrain, and anything don't do anything to provoke Israel. Not Israel, Iran.
Oh my god. Yo, I felt that.
Feel it.
Let's see. So, what was this? U.S. way oil futures market action to combat price spikes. White House officials say, oh, okay, I'm just going to add another dimension to this, that people maybe haven't thought about, but the derivative markets. It could knock out some banks. The derivative markets, a huge, unanticipated swing in oil prices could like wipe to the players that are on the wrong side of oil futures could wipe them out. There could be absolute chaos if oil prices head over 100 and like go up to 150. That's something that's impossible for me to predict. It depends. If it's also possible that, I hope that's the case, because U.S. financial system will survive longer, that the banks pre-positioned themselves for this, knowing it was coming, and won't be hurt too badly. Or in some cases they will profit. But a swing as sharp, like 50% up in oil prices in a week, that can do some real damage. That some people are going to lose, like go bankrupt over that. Anyway, White House officials say, so oil future market action. The reason I mention this is that if the U.S. weighs oil future market action, then it is possible that some banks weren't prepared enough, that maybe they prepared, and the United States will engage in market manipulation to prevent banks from going over. They did that in 2008 financial crisis. Remember, when they banned short selling or limited how far the market could fall. They will. The fact that they're considering this means there's already problems in the financial market. Here's the link again. Yeah, this is yeah. You already saw me. Okay. This is for later. Let me get through the other tweets I have. It says entire Gulf buildings. Inferno engulfs entire buildings as Iranian strikes blow up the heart of Tel Aviv. I've been wanting, whenever I see actual videos, and I'm pretty sure oh no, it's an old. Thank God, it's not a recent video. So let's delete that one. It's a video from the strikes they did last year, from the 12-day war. Oh, this one I know is recent because this is Tehran's 12,000-seat indoor sports complex destroyed in U.S.-Israeli airstrikes. Now, were there Iranian troops in there? I don't know, possibly. But it's a huge building that can hide stuff inside. I think they just drop a bomb on it just to be sure, so they can see what's going on, because it's a big area that the satellites can't see through the roof. That's my bet. But look at that. There we go. That used to be that's like somewhere where you watch soccer. An indoor coliseum. Do you see the roof? Navigating really loves Undertale. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. He likes Omori too. It's another geek game. And let's see. It came to you from the U.S. Treasury. That sparked my interest. Oh, the story from earlier. Yep. There's a 20,000 dirham fine here for spreading misinformation during the war. It sounds like a lot. How much is a dirham though? Dirham, dollar. So how much is it in USD? How much is 20,000? Okay, I'm running into troubles here. How much is that in dollars? Sorry, I am familiar with the value of Japanese yen, Russian ruble, and British pound, but okay, 3.5 USD. So it's still a lot. It's still an awful goddamn lot. It's about $5,000. That's a huge fine. Yes, $20 in yen is 40,000. No, it's 2,000 yen. Let's see. Why did I want this video?
I will predict now and hold me to it.
Yep.
That in November, the Republicans will lose not only the House of Representatives, they'll lose control of the Senate, and Donald Trump will be impeached, and I believe Donald Trump will be convicted.
Okay, that's one opinion. It's not guaranteed to be true, but I will say that he's opened himself up to it with this war, because that is an impeachable offense. And if the Democrats do win the House and the Senate, they will try to impeach him on it. And it'll be hard for him to get out of it. That's another reason why I say they had no fucking idea what they were doing, is that they just... like, why would it was such a disaster. You remember how I was the day the war started? I was like, this is an absolute disaster for Donald Trump. This will end his presidency. And it's just, other people are slowly waking up to that fact. But what's this?
It appears that
Already Asmongold has less viewers than Hassan for the first time in a long time. Might have been because of what he was streaming covering, but it was noticeable to me. I don't keep track of that. Unfortunately, I am banned from Hassan's stream because I made the mistake of saying a country should put their own citizens first. That much is common sense, but yes. I would tune into his stream because, honestly, this is one area where Hassan is more informed than Asmongold. I mean, he's from Turkey. It's his region. He is much better understanding of the implications of attacking Iran than Asmongold. So it makes sense that he would have more viewers because he knows what's going on. I mean, I got frustrated once or twice, so I tuned into other channels just to reach across the aisle. Yeah. By the way, I have a close-up video from a friend of the strike at the U.S. Embassy. Can I share it on your Discord? Yes, you can. Yes, I will. Is it something I don't know if I could share on stream, but I definitely would be curious to look at it. He was talking about the Uniparty, but he still isn't actually aware of what's going on. You mean Asmongold or Hassan? Sorry, I'm getting confused here. Because I'm thinking maybe Hassan, because that doesn't sound like Asmongold. Yeah, Hassan. Yeah. There used to be the Uniparty. It's before Trump, it was the Uniparty. Establishment controlled both sides. It was on so many topics. There was only, you could vote for immigration, or you could vote for immigration. You could vote for outsourcing, or you could vote for outsourcing. Then Trump, because of Trump, the Republicans became the anti-establishment party. And as a result, the established media, the media went crazy against Trump and conservatives. And I think that's one reason we got so much leftist stuff in games and TV shows and everything, is because all the money, the establishment money that used to go between, establishment Republicans and establishment Democrats, went entirely to the Democratic side. Yeah, you see, they were livid, and they really lifted the veil for me. I knew that would happen. I knew that the entire media would just go after Trump and in every way possible, and I wasn't surprised at all when the Russiagate stuff happened. But one tragedy from all this is, I definitely think that yes, it would have happened to an extent, but the amount of woke stuff we got in games and TV shows, it was amplified by the fact that the deep state was reeling against Trump and just pouring money more to the left side of the political spectrum to fight him. And the spillover from that was woke activists going to all these companies and wokeifying all our entertainment, I think. It would have happened anyway, but it really got amplified. I think you can share it. Just don't worry. Okay. Let's see.
ഇതില്ലേ ഇതാണ് സേഫിന്റെ നീ പറഞ്ഞ നമ്മള് മുന്നിലോട്ട് പോയി വീണ് കത്തി
Oh. Yep. That's good. And it's good to get videos from people you trust, because like that, you know it's not AI. Iranians are hitting their targets in a lot of cases. And let's see. Oh yeah, just highlight this. Trump ready to continue operations until Iranians can't fight any longer. Yes, that's why I am just highlighting that this war isn't ending anytime soon, because just like the negotiations had no chance of succeeding because the positions were so far apart, what the Iranians basically want is the U.S. out of the Middle East at this point. After you kill the supreme leaders, they want all the U.S. bases gone from the Middle East. That's what they want. And the United States wants a puppet, basically a pro-U.S. puppet regime in Iran. Those are the two conflicting positions. Sometimes I kill mother bugs in front of their children as a warning to others. Yay, pain. Pain. Yep, Nifty from Aspen Hotel. Yep, there are people like that who actually think like that in the Middle East. Plumes of smoke rising after fires broke out at Burgessia oil complex in Basra, southern Iraq, following a drone attack. It's... Again, I'm not surprised Iran is hitting stuff, or you never know. It could, in some cases, it could be Israel doing it to try to get the Gulf states into the war. But I don't think they'll be... I don't think it'll get to the point, hopefully, where they start targeting seriously each other's oil infrastructure. Because, as I said, Iran has 20,000 short-range drones. They can... Israel, that's far, Tel Aviv. It's over here. Distance, it has... Iran has less missiles that can reach it. They have to basically go over all of Iraq. But... What's going on? Being jumped to map. But the Gulf states, they have 20,000 drones that basically have this range. So if it comes to, if we bomb their oil infrastructure, they can bomb all the infrastructure in the Gulf, basically. It's mutual annihilation in terms. So we just have to pray that doesn't happen, because a shutdown of Strait of Hormuz, yes, that disrupts oil markets, but if you destroy the infrastructure of oil in the Middle East, then you have $200 oil. Can you spoof VPN? I think they're doing it to prevent the misinformation, since a lot of sources are from Twitter. Yeah, I'm sure that they're cracking down on Twitter across the Middle East. Yeah, a VPN would allow you to access it. I don't know. Can you use VPN from your phone? I've never tried to use a VPN from your phone. It's... I'm sure there's an app that might be lets you do that. Is this one true or not? Yeah, I think this one was it's verified as authentic. I think they Iran hit American Patriot missile site in UAE, but yep, Iran is active. It's not stopping. Yeah, it works most of the time as long as you use a good one. That's not littered with ads. Yes. When I use a VPN, I use a paid for one because, yeah, it is better service. Let's see. Oh yeah, maybe this is the last one thing I'll look at.
It appears that that great radar complex in Qatar was destroyed as well. A couple of days ago, there was an article in the Financial Times which suggested that the claims that this radar system in Qatar had been destroyed by the Iranians was based on AI manipulation.
Okay, yes.
Now that
Basically, he's making the point that really radars across the Middle East have been systematically destroyed. And I have seen that. They have definitely, Iran has practically gotten all the radars. It's the easiest thing to get because huge radars don't move. And as long as one drone gets through, you're guaranteed to get it. And so U.S. might have wiped out most of Iran's air defenses, but they've wiped out most of our radars. So, tie so far in that? No, I'm kidding. Yeah, Iran's firing on the basis of out of 1,000, even if one lands, we're good. Yeah, and a lot of them are really cheap drones. I was reading a story that they have experts coming in from Ukraine because even the military isn't retarded. He knows that he can't keep firing $2 million missiles at $20,000 drones and expect to win this war. They need to figure out another solution. But by the time they figure out anything, it's going to be too late. I mean, there won't be any Patriot missiles left. The interceptors will be depleted because you can't adapt that fast during war. Sound strategy for the home team in a war, yeah. Well, that's... Iran is a nation that's had 20 years to prepare for this, and it has, using the oil revenue there, and they obviously have. U.S. is far away, and Israel is surrounded by Muslim countries. Yes. Well, Muslim countries that had U.S. bases in them, that are U.S. vassal states. I mean, that's what the Gulf states are. No offense to anyone, but if you have a U.S. military base in you, you're a vassal of the United States, like most of Europe, Germany and all these places. And I think that some people might try to become vassals of China or Russia after this, because being a U.S. vassal hasn't worked out very well for them this time. Well, I think that's going to be it for the Iran segment for YouTube for today. And so I'll say like and subscribe. Come watch on Kick or Twitch. And I'll see you in the next video.